All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. We'll try to smooth out those rough roads. So I know now that I could have been healed 4 years ago. I mean, it wouldn't have been perfect, but I would have been close to perfect. All I had to do was stay away from me. Because I'm out here and it's pretty much. I mean, I'm the rough for wear, but it's 4 years later. It's cramped up partially for 4 years, and my left leg is still weaker, but my back's pretty much uncramped. I'm walking, and my legs are almost normal. I mean, not completely, but I just had to get the massage and probably some more steroid treatments. Because I think my gets pretty much released. When it released, my it was really sore, but it may have been too released. Like I said, I think I went for because I was noticing the day of the surgery, I just had this. How you doing? Good. How are you? Great. How are you? Oh, come on. So, and I have a board. It's like a bunch of amps in the board, and a bunch of amps in the board. And I'm like, who am I going to give that to? I'm like, I got to give my stuff away if I'm going to, get out of here anytime soon. I got just too much junk. Well, with a guitar, you can usually give, like if you have neighbors, usually somebody has a kid or something like that, you just give them a guitar. I got walking today, and the Lord put that thought in my head probably. And there's that guy he sits on his patio and plays his acoustic guitar, young guy. So I'm like, be interested in a guitar, electric guitar for free? And he said, yeah, I paid like, it's a 150. United States, that guitar would be 250. You buy it from Germany. It's called like a Harley Benton or Harvey Benton or something like that. It's a nice black guitar and just classic look. Les, but I'm not going to get around to it. I'm just going to broadcast probably. So, like I said, sometimes you buy things and they're not yours. God has you buy them for someone else. And they sit around for a while. Nah, I if I'd have got to, that's why they fought. I knew it too. If I got to Rothman, they'd have done the residual. They'd have put pain management on it. They probably would have even brought massage therapists in at a certain point once it healed. All right. If like everybody's out, this is like crazy, man. Right. Everything's so it's warm. So yeah, and I remember I had a line 6. It's like a bunch. It's like a bunch of digital. It's like a digital chain in there, and has the wah wah pedal and the pedal for the other stuff. But you can just pay. You just plug it into a computer, and you can build the chain with the software. Right? That got like I don't even remember how many. Probably like 50 amps. and then it has like settings, like you do synth music. Hmm. My neighbors just me. I mean, they're standoffish. I think they're Native Americans. I tried saying hi to the wife before, and she just disses me. So today I've been out and about, so I keep crossing their path, and I was coming back from my storage unit, and it looked like they just got out of their car and they're about ready to walk, stop, and they turn back to their vehicle. I'm like, yeah, I don't do that to anybody. They shouldn't, but they don't say hi to anybody. I don't know. Maybe they don't. It could be off the reservation. It could be immigrants too. I don't know. Afraid. They may be afraid to. Somebody will, deport them. Right. Now my right leg is still seems like overpowered. Let me go check my back on this. Or it could just be irritated because the other one isn't strong enough and it's carrying most of the weight. So, but I'm thinking with the steroids, I'll get to the point where I can actually function. That was bad. Cramped up. Legs were cramped up for like 4 years. I just couldn't get the massage. Every time I tried, it was just like they were willing me down. Right? They're not supposed to be able to stalk someone like that. No, I can see that the message I receive from the Lord is at least partially true. I will now. I heard your cries. I will heal you. Of course, the question as to whether, like, we don't hear God. Does God actually hear us? Right? So maybe it took God 4 years to hear me. That could be, Scripture says a lot of different things, and a lot of like if you go to Hinduism, like one day for one of their gods is like 3 million years, but each one has a certain amount of time. But it doesn't matter what the time periods are. It's the idea that outside of the human existence, it may be different. Like there's the day of Brahma, the creator. Well, we might actually only be gone for like a few hours in heaven. What happens out here is just, I have no idea, but it might be that we leave heaven and then we're back in a few hours, but we lived this torturous life here. So I brought that up before, but I refined a little bit. Oh, I know what's going on. All right, let me see. Is this working? Yeah. So, uh, if they were to create a national certified email system where they could send legal mail, maybe financial, certain financial transactions where it needs to go certified mail. How you doing? Good. How are you? All right. So those transactions might be able to be mailed. Now, what do we do? Again, it's a encrypted high security transaction. And what, the part they can sign for it, obviously they need the password, or they have to have the access to access the account to get it. Right? So they have to put in a password so it's them. You could even send the thing to their phone, right? The code, the 6-number code or something to their phone. Thank you, Larry. But you could also have, if you wanted to, you could take a snapshot of them. But then again, that would require them to have a camera, and if they're using their phone, generally they have that. Right. Now, there's ways to hack that. Right. So I don't know if that one is really a valid. But you could actually have it take a photo of the person accessing the email and require it. Right. And then the server would check to make sure there's a person there. Or not the server, I guess the server. So that would speed up legal mail and that kind of thing. And it would be certified by the U.S. Post Office. Now, my legs are kind of weepy. But again, if they're having, if your back's cramped and they're stretched a certain way, and then your back uncramps. But that'd be a big money maker, I'm sure. Electronic delivery. Well, my back might actually firm up a little. Like, right now it's probably weak. So, yeah, I have no idea how I missed all that for the last 4 years. Again, I do know. I mean, they psyoped me and harassed me, and I couldn't wrap my mind around it. Quite possibly too, if I massage it out a little further, it might just crap on me. But again, I could massage it out all the way, and then it could tighten up a little bit and find a happy medium until I can get somewhere. But boy, it's just like this day. I was being tortured in there. I wasn't the only one. A lot of people were, saying it was how miserable it was. First I started with like a sinus infection, and then actually before that I started with getting cramped up. I tried to get the surgery before Thanksgiving. I think, was it? When was? Oh no, it was right after Thanksgiving. I scheduled the surgery before Thanksgiving. Then I got sick, like within a day or two. My stomach got really, really sick. And then my body started cramping up. And then I released that, and it started doing some crazy stuff. So I had to go to the massage therapy. But then I got the COVID. So I had the sinus infection, the body all cramped up, COVID. It's freezing out here, snowing. Oh, it was horrible. And my body only had two things: that super tight cramp or completely loose, and pain in the legs. So I don't know. It was crazy. But I do, thank the Lord. I was able to praise the Lord. I was able to lay on my side for about, a half hour to 45 minutes at least and take a nap in the middle of the day. And I haven't been able to do that in years, I don't think. Just wasn't available. Let's see, we connected again. So I was able to, the guy I gave the guitar to, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing as far as whether I'm going to need somebody to help, but I could even pay you, to help me move my stuff if I need to move it. And he said, sure, that's, I work on my feet. So it's kind of stuff I do. So I said, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, I did the mold test and it looked like it came out negative. I don't know if it was a good negative or not. I'm going to call the company, I think, and ask them, was that a failed test or is that? I mean, it still has the control line and that's it. It's like it does it like the COVID test. Right. The one kind of washed out a little bit, so I don't think it was even close to having another line. Yeah, when I was in Tyler, it came up with that dangerous mold. I think it was Tyler. I did the mold test and it hit positive this one only tests for the date. Like there could be mold in there, but it's not that real serious mold. It's like an instant test. It's expensive. Paid like $30. Thought there was 2 in there. But it was like an overnight shipping, and it tested negative for mold. What I do is I test the vent. I test the vent going into the AC. The door with the slot. The louvers. So I test the louvers. I wipe the swab on the louver. Then I get up on a step ladder and I do the vent and I wipe the vent, and then I do the test with it. But those are really the 2 locations you should be concerned with. It came up negative. But again, there is mold in the air, so. Right. And I did stop my high blood pressure medicine because that's a side effect, I think, stomach issues. So I'm going to have to, give it another day or 2, and if I get better. Right. I think that's when I think it started right about that time period. But I'm not sure. So Sunday brought the sun out. Now my legs are kind of weird right now. They used to be stronger. Again, I've been laid up for a while. Who knows? Now, I wish I had this mind 4 years ago. Right. No, it's PSYOP. It did it to me. Psychological torture. You pay a lot of money to do that. They're sick people. So again, programs like that, I swear there's like, again, if the government's allowed to invest money, then who knows what's going to happen? I mean, it's kind of weird, right? It's scary, weird, or scary good, I guess. Well, if we take all that Social Security money and invest it, like safe investments, and then we provide uh, automatic, 401k access to people from birth. Now the problem is, it could cut into the private sector 401k world, which, you know, but I don't know. But I guess that's the way to do it. No, I guess you can't do it that way, can you? Well, I guess you could. You just have the board selects funds to invest portions of the Social Security fund into. Right. Right. So you would use the private sector funds, but you don't directly do it. You're in the Social Security fund, and the Social Security fund invests in various funds, maybe commodities, bonds, whatever the options you want to give them. I mean, I can't even imagine how rich the government would be right now if they did that, right? Just think if they did it right when I told them this came up with it. I mean, it was like over 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I'm waiting for you all to pay me. Need to pay me. Thanks, sir. Now, I did turn the heat up high in here. I mean, it's low, but it's nice and warm in my apartment. So one day out amongst the people, things started working. But I can't buy these skinny cow things. So I'm like addicted to them. Yeah, I was so upset when not upset, but shut down. The day of my move in is when I noticed it didn't have a bathtub. Well, my legs are more normal than they've been in years, but still not completely normal. Well, I could get released. My back is worked out and released, and then it firms up a little bit. So it's not like excruciating, but I never would have guessed that Texas would treat me that way. Never would have guessed. After all those years of help in Texas. What I was talking about earlier was just having like an army of analysts. And they're online and they're using, all the other tools we have to locate people. And you could do it from like military people could do it from military bases. You have to clear them, I guess. Or right. Military intelligence people have high clearances. Right. So you could they could essentially have lists of names of people, or looking for, not only looking for the person, also looking for communities that most likely reflect what you're looking for. Because they may find there's probably, again, AI could probably do it too, but they could find like there's criminal immigrants in Ottumwa, Iowa, because the analysis says that. The sheriff's part of it. Thank you, Larry. But you get a bunch of analysts, and they're just constantly looking for the people you're looking for, and then also looking for like communities where you're likely to find that, and then you can work on the ground. Well, I'm sure there's like middle of nowhere communities. Again, ag. We don't want to really disturb the ag if we don't have to. But. Yeah, I can't even believe it's 4 years later. I mean, it's just, I'm like, what? Right. From when I was in 4 or 5 years later since I scheduled that surgery. But what I was trying to do is like get it released. Right. So I could look at it. But again, if they would stop with the psychological stuff, I'd have got somewhere to get that done. And of course, they're also imposing their will, casting spells. I mean, they make millions of dollars doing this, torturing somebody. They're sick. Well, that sun feels great. People are out on their bicycles. Let's ride on the trail on the bike. 100% Larry. People just busted out today and said, that's it. We're outside. Game over. I'm trying to remember what the thing was inferring about this guy that plays the guitar. I don't remember what it was saying, but I know it was like weird inference. And for all I know, I was drugged to, have all that stiffness. Yeah, it's still a little stiff over here. I think because the lower lumbar is like it is, it takes the right side and keeps it a little stiffer. I mean, but it was really cramped up. My sinuses definitely feel better outside. Nah, I couldn't see it, but I'm sure if I'd have got to, like the last 4 years have been so shitty. If I'd have just got to Rothman Clinic, they'd have hooked me up. Right. I'd have been sitting in a rehab, and they'd have been sending these other people in to do all the physical therapy. Right. Probably even a little bit of massage. Right. Pain management. Steroid shot. All right. All I had to do was get up there. Correct. It's like my brother doesn't have a clue. Like I have no real life. He has no clue. He's like, oh, you don't need surgery. Like if I just saw the ads that are there now, I'd be like, oh, let me go. Because they're like, oh, return to your good life. And everybody's got a bicycle. I'm sure it would have been a better life than I had for the last 4 years. What up, brother?
What's happening, man? How you doing, Lawrence?
I'm getting better, I think.
Good, man.
I still might need surgery. I'm broadcasting, so don't say anything you don't want the world to hear.
It's all good, man. I'm not ever worried about that.
Yeah. Well, I just say it to everybody. It's a courtesy,
Yeah,
you don't be ignorant in some right.
Yeah.
Somebody say I hate my boss, like you did the other day.
Yeah, you say some stupid stuff sometimes, but
Right.
not on purpose.
I'm just joking. Yeah, I got my back released. It was cramped up real bad, but it's more released than it's been in like 4 years.
They took care of it.
No, I didn't go anywhere or do anything yet. It's just me and like just doing crazy, like spraying it with like stuff that releases it. So, but I have to get I'm going to probably have to get surgery. But I have a steroid shots coming up too,
You
so
say
that's
that.
going to release it a little bit more. And then I
That
think,
helped my mom. That helped my mom a lot.
but I think what it's going to do is sit down on my lower lumbar nerve too much.
Right.
So I'm going to have to get that fused, and then that
bites.
yeah,
So
well, but you got to do. I should have did it 4 years ago.
Anything on the back is always serious. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
But I should have did it 4 years ago. I had lined up great surgeons, a great hospital in Philadelphia. I should have did it, but again, people were messing with me, and I couldn't get my mind to do it, and that's just the way it works.
They say good things about these doctors out here too, man.
What's that?
Like they say good things about these surgeons and stuff out here too. So
What do you mean?
they say good things about our surgeons out here in this.
Yeah, I was reading. Yeah, St. Luke's pain management guys. Did I tell you the best guy I've ever seen? I'll tell you his name. I'm not going to say it on here because I don't want to say it, but
Okay.
I'll tell you his name. And if you ever need a pain management guy, you go to this guy. If I had this guy 4 years ago, I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh, he's great.
Pretty
He's
awesome.
great.
Hey man, you have a good rest.
Well,
of
you
your day.
take care, brother.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
The maintenance guy. He said he's working like 3 jobs now. I always know the maintenance people. Hi, Larry. There's a lady from California. Husband's a Marine. They're married out there. Pendleton. I heard someone else. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Great. Nice weather, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's very nice. Oh, my goodness.
They have cabin fever too, I guess, right? They needed to get out. Enjoy the weather. So Pope headed south, I guess. That's why it's always it's always touch and go when you use the Aaronic blessing, because you're saying, may the Lord give you peace. And sometimes the only way to get peace is to pass on. So that's something that most people, I think, don't realize with that prayer. So again, right. Yeah, my right leg is fired up. My left leg is. That's kind of weird. I should have got it done. I don't know where my head was. Right. And if I'd have got the massage to get released, I couldn't find massage therapists to do it right. Right. I guess I didn't try enough. I mean, but they just beat me up for decades, and I just couldn't get past it for that period of time. Right. So I don't know. Right. My right leg is getting a little crampy because it's so overpowering on the left. The left is kind of weak, but it still feels more powerful than it was in Amarillo. I mean, it was perfect. I mean, they already accepted it. Right. I just had to get out there and schedule. They probably were angry at it. Right. So there's no doubt that if I stayed in massage, it would have been, I'd probably just be getting to see maybe some additional issue. Right. No, because I wasn't sure if I was released or not, because I couldn't get it to release. I'm like, was I cramped up in Santa Fe and I didn't realize it? But no, I was released. Right. And one woman was massaging my inner thigh, but it's there's like a muscle that runs down in there, and she was always like very uncomfortable. She did it in Arizona, but that's a very important muscle to release also. Nah, it was obvious going to Santa Fe was not the place to go. Like if I came to Kansas back then in 2000, like 2012, I'd have had a more normal life. Right. Because I was still younger, and there's just white people here. Again, I didn't realize Spanish people. Like you go someplace where there's a lot of Spanish people because you want to help people of color, and Native American. It turns out they're racist, that they take the money to harm you and all that. Right. Again, everything I say goes into the Lord, and the Lord, uses it to evaluate the planet. So everything I witness is important. And tomorrow's going to be warmer. Well, if I'd have gotten to it, I'd have been done. I mean, it would have fixed, and I'd have seen pain management and been back in the doctor system again. While I'm in there, I'm going to be seeing this doctor, that doctor, right? Right. Well, I still want to do additional MRIs, but I'm not detecting too much. I mean, again, when your sciatic nerve is compressed, and then your front could also suffer a little bit of weirdness, right? Yeah, the time to take care of this is when I was going to go to Massage for Life. Twice a month, 3 times a month for life. 2 hours at a pop. That's what I was paying for. I'm tipping on pretty good on top, not like crazy, but right. Pretty good customer to do that to. That was a whole psyop. So we'll see where I am with the steroid shot, but or epidural. What I think they'll do, it'll probably chill out all the muscle and all the additional weirdness, right? But at a certain point, I have to get my legs back on. Right. Yeah, 50, 56, 57 is a better time to do that surgery than later. That's what I should have thought about. Correct. Right. And then it would, we'd already be done, already spent 2-3 months healing. And then probably could have rode my bicycle the whole time. Right. And not had all that craziness happen because I'm all cramped up and everything. Definitely at peace here, compared to where I was at least. Anytime you're ready to pay me. I did sit in a chair for a little bit today. No, my left butt cheek. It's smaller than my right butt cheek. So that's from that, impinged nerve. It would have took care of all that. There's no reason to have not done it. I'm sure of it. I just couldn't get anywhere. And like the last doctor I went to is like, well, I don't know, it's some serious stuff. I'm like, ugh. And then he was like, well, sometimes when you relieve the cramp, it gets worse. And I'm like, eh. All right. 100%. But it wasn't reality for me. Right. So again, when they curse you, when they're stalking you, that's what happens. So it doesn't happen the way it's supposed to happen. And then anything that does come positive, they block it. So that would be, that's an issue. So I've been out walking for about 40 minutes now. Right. It's pretty good since I've been laid up. They hate that, right? Like, yeah. Probably mad to see me come out. Oh, he's outside walking, talking to the neighbors. It didn't work. It's pretty much a trial of Job. I needed my lower lumbar fused 4 years ago, and my life would have been completely different. Probably would have stayed in the Delaware. I don't know if I could have stayed in the Delaware Valley, but I don't know where I would have went. Definitely wouldn't have came this far out. Probably would have headed south to someplace that was a little cheaper, maybe semi-rural. Like if I got back to health, I could have took a chance to go to semi-rural. Right. Well, once they get that bone off that nerve, that leg gets stronger. So I know it works because if my back cramps up, that leg gets stronger. But it doesn't completely remove the. Right. So when your back cramps up, it lifts that bone up off of that nerve. So like the back's intelligent. But if you don't know what's happening, then if you're not intelligent, it only works so good. So when it pulls that bone up off that nerve, then that leg fires back up. Like right now, my back's pretty much relaxed, so it's kind of wimpy. Like if I got to this, I could have seen it much better. It's where what I was trying to do. But I got to Colorado, and then like I went crazy. Right. Sheriff's department, police department were stalking me and chasing me, and they gunned their vehicle when it was pointing at me while I was still broadcasting. Right. Brought a helicopter overhead trying to freak me out. Well, Aurora didn't do so good since then. Well, the one thing is I can feel it in my right leg, just walking this little bit with this kind of setup. It's not going to really work. So that's another thing. I could walk and I felt okay, but again, my legs were kind of cramped a little bit and almost like peg-leg. It's just so sad because it takes 2 to 3 months to heal of that surgery. Right. Could have already been past that and everything. Never should have did that to me, ever in my life. All I was trying to do is go to a religious place and meet a woman to marry, and that's it. And even if that religious place was like yoga or something like that. Meanwhile, people that are actually committing the crimes, they try to say that I'm potentially going to commit or have committed when I haven't, are doing whatever they want.